Being managers for Maple Leaf Inc., we are considering expanding into one of three countries in order to help reduce costs for our organization. So I am Ali, and I will begin talking about our countries. So first is Serbia. They are ranked 67th. Second is Kenya. They are ranked 142. And Venezuela is ranked 78. So I'll begin with the Hofstede's dimensions with the three countries, but we wanted to include Canada because we are familiar with this country and believe it is a good comparison to use for the other three countries. So first, their power distance, value placed on equality and straightforward exchange. They are an individualistic culture where people look after themselves and their immediate family. It is a moderately masculine society, so the overall culture tone is more subdued with respect to achievement, success, and winning. Uncertainty avoidance, easily accepted to new ideas and tolerant of ideas or opinions, but are not rule orientated. Long-term orientation is they are a normative society. Canadians exhibit respect for traditions. And indulgent. They exhibit a willingness to realize their impulses and desire with regard to enjoy life and have fun.
My name is Linda and I'll be talking about Serbia, Kenya, and Venezuela's Hofstede's dimension. So I'll start with Serbia. Their power distance is pretty high. They have hierarchy in all their organizations. Individualism is low. They're considered a collectivist society, so all their value is placed on a commitment to a group. Masculinity is mid-range, but they're considered to be a feminine society where the focus is on working in order to live. And managers strive for consensus and equality. Uncertainty avoidance is high. They prefer to avoid uncertainty and maintain rigid codes and of belief and behavior, and are intolerant of unorthodox behavior and ideas. Indulgence is really low. They're a culture of restraint. They don't put much emphasis on leisure time and control the gratification of their desires. For Kenya, their power distance is higher, so they're also seen as a hierarchical society. Individualism is low. They're also considered very collectivist. They have a long-term commitment to group and family. Masculinity is about mid-range. They're considered to be a masculine society where behavior in school, work, and play are based on their shared values, and that people should strive to be the best they can be, and winner takes all. Uncertainty avoidance is 50-50. There's no clear preference in this dimension. So for Venezuela, the power distance is high. They believe that inequality is a fact of life. Leaders have much more power than management. Individualism is really low. It's amongst the lowest individualist scores, and it is amongst the most collectivist cultures in the world. Aligning yourself with the group's opinion is very important, and loyalty is paramount. Conflict is avoided. Masculinity is high. They're considered a very masculine society. They're highly success-oriented and driven, and they are also the most performance-oriented country in Latin America. Uncertainty avoidance is high. They are a nation that's seeking mechanisms to avoid conflicts. Emotions are openly expressed. Long-term orientation. Venezuela is normative in nature, as people have a strong concern with establishing the absolute truth. There is great respect for tradition and achieving quick results. Indulgence is 100 out of 100, so they exhibit a willingness to realize their impulses and desires with regard to enjoying life and having fun. They possess a positive attitude, and there's a high degree of importance on leisure time. So this is just a summary chart of the Hofstede's 5-dimension and where all the countries score in comparison to Canada. There is quite a difference between each country and what they're scoring at each level.
Hi, I'm Kayla, and I'm going to be taking you through the pestle analysis of a few of our countries. So first, just about the pestle a little bit. The P is for political, E is for economic, S is for social, T is for technological, E is for environmental, and L is for legal. So again, we'll be starting with Canada to give you a base idea. For P, we're 99 out of 100, which means we're economically free. Our GDP per capita is on the higher scale, around 48,000. We have low tariffs, unemployment, and inflation. Our top tax rates are 33% for personal and 15% for corporate. For social, our average life expectancy is around 82 years, and average time spent in school is around 16 years. For technological, Canada is very increasingly more digital and open to technological ideas. For E, Canada's biggest industries involve oil and gas. And in 2016, the government introduced the multi-sector air pollutants regulations to limit the amount of nitrogen oxides. For legal, property rights are not guaranteed, but they are usually protected, which is a huge benefit for our businesses here. Next, I'm going to talk about Serbia. For political, they're 67 out of 100, which means they're partly free. They're a democracy with multi-party elections, but the Serbian party has eroded political and civil rights, put pressure on the media, the political opposition, and civil organizations. This has recently declined from free to partly free due to this deterioration. GDP per capita is approximately 15,000. Unemployment around 14%, inflation of 3.1%, and top personal income tax rates are about 10%. For social, life expectancy is a little lower at 75 years. Expected years of school is 14. They're not very technologically advanced. However, once a year, they allow trade shows to promote innovation and show Serbia how to be more competitive in technology. For environmental, floods are frequent. The NATO bombings of 1999 caused lasting damage to the environment of Serbia, with several thousand tons of toxic chemicals stored in targeted factories being released into the soil, atmosphere, and water basins. For legal, foreign and domestic non-governmental organizations generally operate freely. Workers may join unions and strike, but strikes are being restricted in practice. Domestic violence remains to be a serious problem. Also, racism is a concern. Many buildings are not registered, and there are worsening conditions in factories, including low wages, unpaid overtime, and hazardous work environments. Next, we'll talk about Kenya. Kenya is partly free. They also have a multi-party democracy that holds regular elections, but their civil liberties are undermined by corruption. Their GDP per capita is about 3,500, with an employment rate of 11.5%, inflation about 8%, and taxes around 30%. Their average life expectancy is even lower at 67 years, and expected years in school are 12. Kenya has a lack of research and skills. Kenya faces several environmental issues like deforestation, soil erosion, water shortage, and degraded water quality. Kenya continues to plague national and country government corruption. This has been a huge issue in Kenya.
I'm Laura, and I will be finishing off the presentation today. Next on the pestle analysis, we have Venezuela. Venezuela is not free, and they have a very low score on the corruption index. Their GDP per capita is within mid-range, as well as their unemployment rate. Their inflation rate is very high right now. Venezuela's life expectancy, education, and population is similar to Canada's. They have next to no technological advances, but the government is trying to change that. Venezuela has some environmental issues such as earthquakes, floods, and droughts. They are trying to improve their legal systems. After reviewing each country carefully, we have decided to expand into Serbia. Our top 3 reasons for choosing Serbia are their high GDP, low income tax rates, and the least amount of corruption. There are some issues to be aware of in Serbia, so we must tread carefully while expanding there and make sure that we have the right tools to combat these issues. To combat any property rights issues, we will make sure that we follow all of the necessary legal protocols. To combat the uncertainty avoidance issue, we believe that if we are adaptive to their culture and listen to their needs, we can be welcomed and accepted. That concludes our presentation. Thank you very much for listening.